It was another boring Tuesday night at the university observatory. Alex had been staring at computer screens for hours, tracking the same stars he'd been watching for months. His coffee had gone cold, and honestly, he was thinking about packing up early. Being a graduate student in astrophysics sounded cool when he told people at parties, but most nights it was just him, alone in a dark building, staring at data that all looked the same. Then something weird happened. The electromagnetic sensors started going crazy. At first, Alex thought it was just a glitch. These old machines acted up all the time. But the readings kept getting stronger, and they were coming from somewhere close. Really close. Like not from space at all, but from the field behind the observatory. Alex grabbed his jacket and headed outside. The night air was cold, and he could see his breath forming little clouds in front of his face. He followed the direction of the readings, walking across the parking lot and into the clearing where students sometimes hung out during the day. That's when he saw her. She was just standing there in the middle of the field, completely still, looking up at the sky. There was something strange about the air around her. It wasn't foggy exactly, but the space near her looked different somehow, like when you see heat waves rising off hot pavement, except it was a cold night. Alex blinked a few times, thinking maybe he'd been staring at screens for too long. "Hey, are you okay?" he called out. The girl turned to look at him, and Alex felt his heart skip. She looked relieved, almost like she'd been waiting for someone to find her. She appeared to be around his age, mid-20s maybe, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to catch the moonlight in an unusual way. But her clothes were what really caught his attention. She was wearing what looked like a jacket and pants, but the material was wrong. It looked normal from a distance, but up close the fabric seemed too smooth, too perfect, like it was made from something that didn't quite exist yet. "I need assistance," she said. Her voice was calm but had a strange quality to it, like she was translating from another language in her head before speaking. "Are you lost? Did you have an accident?" Alex walked closer, genuinely concerned. She didn't look injured, but she definitely seemed disoriented. "Something like that," she replied, looking around the field like she was trying to remember where she was. "My transport malfunctioned. I'm somewhat stranded." Transport? That was a weird way to put it. Alex assumed she meant her car broke down, though he didn't see any vehicle nearby. "Do you need me to call someone? A tow truck or maybe a friend?" She tilted her head slightly, considering his question. "No, I don't think they could help with this particular problem. But thank you." Alex pulled out his phone to at least offer her a ride somewhere, but the screen was completely black. That was strange. He'd charged it fully before coming to the observatory. He pressed the power button several times, nothing. Then he noticed his watch had stopped too. The second hand was frozen in place. "That's weird," he muttered, tapping the watch face. "I apologize," the girl said. "That's probably because of me. I tend to interfere with your technology when I'm not properly synchronized." Alex laughed nervously. "What do you mean synchronized? Are you some kind of hacker or something?" "Not exactly." She gave him a small smile. "My name is Vera. What's yours?" "Alex, look, I know this is going to sound strange, but did you come from that direction?" He pointed toward where the electromagnetic readings had been strongest. "I picked up some unusual signals on my equipment." Vera's expression changed. She looked impressed. "You detected that? Most people can't. You must be sensitive to temporal fluctuations." "Temporal what now?" "Never mind." She waved her hand dismissively. "I should probably not say too much. I'm already causing enough disruption just by being here." She looked around the field again, this time with what seemed like genuine curiosity. "This is Earth, correct? North America region?" Alex stared at her. "Okay." So she was either playing some kind of elaborate prank or she was genuinely confused and maybe needed medical help. But there was something about her that didn't seem threatening or crazy. Just different. "Yeah, this is Earth. Are you feeling all right? Did you hit your head or something?" "I'm fine, physically. Just temporally displaced." She bent down and touched the grass, running her fingers through it slowly, like she was feeling fabric at a store. Fascinating. "I've observed this from a distance, but the texture is quite different when you're actually synchronized with it." Alex decided to try a different approach. "Are you hungry? There's a diner about a mile from here. We could walk there and you can tell me what's going on. Maybe I can help." Vera looked at him for a long moment, and Alex got the strangest feeling that she was seeing more than just him, like she was looking at something around him or through him. Finally, she nodded. "That would be acceptable. I could use some time to assess my situation." They walked together through the dark campus, and Alex kept stealing glances at her. She walked normally enough, but every few steps she would stop to look at something that most people wouldn't notice. A leaf on the ground, the pattern of cracks in the sidewalk, the way the streetlights created shadows. It was like she was seeing everything for the first time. "So, Vera, where are you from?" Alex asked, trying to make conversation. "That's complicated to explain." "Try me. I'm studying astrophysics. I can handle complicated." She smiled at that. "Let's just say I'm from somewhere that exists adjacent to here. We occupy similar space, but experience it very differently. Like a different dimension? Something like that, yes. Your scientists have theories about it, but they haven't quite figured out the mechanics yet." Alex decided to play along. "And your transport malfunctioned, which brought you here?" "It's more accurate to say it brought me into your time stream. I'm usually moving much faster through time than you are. But my temporal anchor device broke, and now I'm stuck experiencing time the way you do, second by second, moment by moment." She said this like it was a prison sentence. They reached the diner, and Alex held the door open for her. The warm air and smell of coffee hit them as they walked in. It was nearly empty except for a couple of truck drivers at the counter and a tired-looking waitress refilling the coffee maker. "Sit anywhere." "Han!" the waitress called out. They slid into a booth near the window. The waitress came over with menus and 2 glasses of water. "What can I get you folks?" "Just coffee for me," Alex said. "Vera?" She was staring at the menu like it was written in hieroglyphics. "I'll have the same." After the waitress left, Vera picked up the fork on the table and examined it closely. She turned it over in her hands, testing its weight. "Interesting design. Simple but effective. You've never seen a fork before?" "I've seen them. I've just never needed to use one." She set it down carefully. The coffee arrived, and Alex watched as Vera picked up the cup with both hands, like a child might. She took a small sip, and her eyes widened. "This is quite pleasant. The warmth, the bitterness. It's very immediate. You say that like being immediate is unusual. For me, it is. I'm used to experiencing multiple moments simultaneously. Tasting this coffee now while also knowing how it will taste in 30 seconds, how the warmth will fade, how the caffeine will affect my system. But right now, I can only experience this moment. Just this one. It's strange and unsettling and somehow beautiful." Alex found himself leaning forward. "Okay, let's say I believe you. Let's say you're really from some other timeline or dimension or whatever. Why can I see you? Why am I not moving too slow for you?" "I don't know," Vera admitted. "That's what's unusual about this. When my anchor broke, I should have just phased back to my own time stream. But instead I'm locked here, and you're the first person who's been able to clearly perceive me and interact with me without any difficulty. There's something about your presence that stabilizes me. Like an anchor?" "Yes, exactly like that," the waitress came back. "You kids need anything else?" "We're good, thanks," Alex said. Then after she left, he asked, "How do you know she was coming back? You looked at the door exactly 3 seconds before she walked through it." Vera smiled. "Old habits. Even stuck in your time stream, I can still see a few seconds ahead. It's like peripheral vision for me. I can sense the immediate future branching out from every moment." They sat there for another hour talking. Vera asked him questions about everything. Why do humans sleep? Why do they measure their lives in years? Why do they fear aging? Alex tried to explain, but he realized that these were things he'd never really thought about. They were just facts of life. When they finally left the diner, Alex walked Vera back to the clearing where he'd found her. "Will you be here tomorrow?" he asked. She looked up at the sky. "I have nowhere else to go. My people won't be able to locate me easily while I'm synchronized with your time. So yes, I'll be here. Then I'll come back tomorrow. We'll figure this out." Vera smiled at him, and for the first time that night, she looked genuinely happy. "Thank you, Alex. This whole experience has been disorienting, but meeting you has made it much less frightening." As Alex walked back to his car, his phone suddenly buzzed back to life. Messages and notifications flooded in all at once. His watch started ticking again, and he realized that whatever Vera was, whatever she really was, his life had just become infinitely more interest. Alex couldn't focus on anything the next day. He sat through his morning classes, but his mind kept drifting back to the girl in the field. Vera. Was that even her real name? The rational part of his brain kept trying to convince him that she was just confused, maybe dealing with some kind of trauma or mental health situation. But then he remembered how his phone and watch had stopped working around her. How she'd known exactly when the waitress would come back. How she looked at ordinary things like she was seeing them for the first time. By the time evening came around, Alex practically ran to the observatory. He didn't even bother going inside. He went straight to the clearing, and there she was, sitting on the grass, looking at the sunset like it was the most fascinating thing she'd ever seen. "You came back," she said without turning around. "How did you know I was here?" "I could feel the probability of your arrival getting stronger." "It's hard to explain." She patted the ground next to her. "Come sit. Watch this with me." Alex sat down beside her. The sun was setting in brilliant oranges and reds, painting the clouds in colors that seemed almost unreal. "It's beautiful," he said. "It is," Vera agreed. "But do you know what's even more beautiful? The fact that you can't see what comes next. For you, this sunset is happening right now in this moment, and you have no idea how it will end. You're experiencing pure uncertainty, pure possibility. I envy that. You said yesterday that you can see the future. What's that like?" Vera was quiet for a moment, still watching the sun dip toward the horizon. "Imagine if every time you started reading a book you could already see the last page. Every time you met someone you already knew how the friendship would end. Every meal you already knew if you'd enjoy it. Every choice you already knew the outcome. That's my normal existence, or it was before I came here. That sounds lonely. It is. My people don't form attachments the way yours do. We can't. When you can see every relationship's trajectory, every moment of joy and every moment of pain all at once, it becomes difficult to invest in any single timeline. We tend to observe rather than participate. Is that what you were doing here? Observing Earth? Yes, we study your kind. Humans are fascinating to us because you live so completely in the present. You build entire civilizations, create art, fall in love, all while knowing that time is carrying you forward toward an end you can't see or control. It's either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish, and we haven't decided which. Alex picked up a small stone and tossed it across the grass. "So what went wrong? Why are you stuck here?" Vera reached into her jacket and pulled out something that made Alex's breath catch. It looked like a piece of jewelry, a pendant on a chain, but it was made of a material he'd never seen before. The surface moved and shifted like liquid metal, but it held its shape. Lights pulsed underneath the surface in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "This is my temporal anchor. It's supposed to keep me phased correctly, allow me to move between different time streams. But something happened when I was observing your world. The anchor started malfunctioning, pulling me deeper into your timeline instead of keeping me separate from it. By the time I realized what was happening, I was already synchronized. Stuck in your anchor. Can you fix it?" "I don't know. The technology is beyond anything humans have developed. It's not mechanical in the way your devices are. It's more organic, grown rather than built, and right now it's not responding to any of my attempts to repair it." Alex leaned closer, studying the device. "Can I touch it?" "I suppose, though I'm not sure what will happen." He reached out carefully and brushed his fingers against the surface. The moment he made contact, the world seemed to skip. Just for a second, he saw two versions of the same moment. One where his hand touched the device and one where it didn't. Both existed simultaneously in his mind before snapping back to a single reality. "Whoa," he gasped, pulling his hand back. "What was that?" Vera was staring at him with wide eyes. "You saw it. You actually saw the probability split." "Alex, that shouldn't be possible. Humans don't have the neurological structure to perceive multiple timelines." "Well, I definitely saw something. It was like the world glitched for a second." "This is extraordinary." Vera clutched the pendant, her expression a mix of confusion and excitement. "There's something different about you. I've been observing humans for years of your time, and I've never encountered anyone who could perceive temporal mechanics. Most of your kind are completely locked into a single timeline." Over the next few days, Alex and Vera fell into a routine. He would finish his classes and research work, then meet her in the clearing. She couldn't go far from the spot where she'd first appeared. She said it was the only place where she felt stable, like being tethered to a fixed point. Alex brought her food from the diner, books from his apartment, his old tablet loaded with movies and music. Watching Vera experience human culture was like seeing everything through new eyes. She cried during a simple romantic comedy, not because it was sad, but because she could watch it without knowing how it would end. She listened to music for hours, marveling at how the notes created emotions she couldn't predict. "Your art is different when you're inside the timeline. she told him one night. When I observed humanity from outside, I could see all of it at once. Every song ever written, every story ever told. But experiencing them one at a time in sequence, not knowing what comes next, it changes everything. Now I understand why you create. You're trying to capture moments to hold on to them before they slip away into the past. Alex found himself opening up to her in ways he never had with anyone else. He told her about his family, his dreams of understanding the universe, his fear that he'd spend his whole life studying the stars and never really understand anything important. Vera listened without judgment, without offering easy solutions. She just accepted everything he said as valid. You know what's funny? Alex said one evening as they watched the stars come out. I've spent years studying space, trying to understand time and the universe. And then you show up. Someone who actually experiences time differently, and suddenly all my textbooks seem useless. They're not useless. Your scientists have remarkable intuition. They figured out so much using just mathematics and observation. They're wrong about some things, but they're surprisingly right about others. Like what? Like the idea that time isn't fixed. Your Einstein understood that time is relative, that it bends and stretches. He just didn't realize it could be navigated the way you navigate space. With the right technology, the right understanding, time becomes just another direction to move in. Can you teach me? Vera smiled sadly. I could try, but learning to perceive time the way I do requires more than just knowledge. It requires a fundamental change in how your consciousness processes reality. Most humans can't do it, but you said I'm different. I saw that split earlier. That moment where two timelines existed, you did, and I don't understand why. There's something about you, Alex. Something that resonates with temporal mechanics in a way I've never seen in a human before. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, just watching the stars. Then Vera reached over and took his hand. Her skin was warm, very much human, and Alex felt his heart rate pick up. Thank you, she said softly. For what? For treating me like I'm real. For not calling me crazy or running away. For just accepting this impossible situation and trying to help. I was prepared to be alone and frightened until my people found a way to retrieve me. But you've made this experience something else entirely. Something I don't have words for. Alex squeezed her hand gently. You are real. Whatever you are, wherever you're from, you're as real as anything I've ever known. As he said it, something strange happened. The air around them seemed to thicken, and Alex felt that sensation again, like reality was splitting. But this time it was stronger. He could see moments stacking on top of each other. This conversation happening now, and also happening 10 seconds from now, and also having already happened 10 seconds ago, all existing at once. You're doing it again, Vera whispered. You're perceiving outside the linear flow. How is this possible? I don't know, but it's getting stronger every time I'm around you. It's like you're teaching my brain to see what you see. Vera looked troubled. Alex, I need to tell you something. My people have been sending signals. I can feel them trying to locate me. They'll figure out where I am eventually, and when they do, they'll pull me back. They'll repair my anchor and take me home. When? I don't know. Could be days. Could be weeks. But it will happen. And you'll just leave? Go back to living outside of time? I'll have to. I don't belong here. The longer I stay synchronized with human time, the more difficult it will be to return. I'm already changing. I can feel it. I'm starting to think in linear sequences, to anticipate the future rather than seeing it, to exist in single moments rather than all moments. If I stay too long, I might lose my abilities entirely. Alex felt something tighten in his chest. He'd only known her for a few days, but the thought of her leaving felt wrong. Not just sad, but fundamentally wrong. Like the universe itself would be missing something important. What if you want to stay? He asked quietly. Vera looked at him with an expression that held centuries of loneliness and a spark of something new. 2 weeks had passed since Alex first found Vera in the clearing, and the world had become a stranger, more wonderful place. He was experiencing things that shouldn't be possible, things that made him question everything he thought he knew about reality. It started small. He would reach for his coffee cup and know, absolutely know, that it would be too hot to drink for exactly another 12 seconds. He would walk across campus and sense which path would get him to class without running into anyone. He began to notice patterns in everything, like the universe was showing him its underlying code. But it was more than just prediction. Sometimes, when he was with Vera, time itself felt different. Moments would stretch out, a single second expanding into what felt like minutes. Other times hours would pass in what seemed like moments. And always there was that sensation of seeing double, of experiencing multiple possibilities hovering around every decision. "You're changing," Vera told him one evening. They were sitting in the clearing as usual, but this time Alex had brought his laptop to show her some of his research. "Your consciousness is adapting to perceive temporal mechanics. I've never seen anything like it. Is that bad? I don't know. It shouldn't even be possible." She looked worried, an expression Alex had come to recognize. "My people have studied humans for what you would call centuries. We've never observed anyone with the capacity to develop temporal perception. It's not in your biology. Maybe it is, and you just never found the right person. Or maybe being around you is triggering something dormant." Alex pulled up a document on his laptop. "I've been doing some research. There are scattered reports throughout history of people who claimed they could see the future or experience time differently. Mystics, prophets, people who were usually dismissed as crazy. What if they weren't? What if they were like me, somehow able to tap into this temporal awareness?" Vera leaned over to look at the screen, her shoulder touching his. Alex had noticed they'd been sitting closer lately, finding excuses to be in physical contact. Every touch seemed to intensify his temporal perception, like she was a catalyst for whatever was changing inside him. "It's possible," she said thoughtfully, "but those individuals were rare and their abilities were limited. What you're developing is much stronger, and it's accelerating." "Show me something," Alex said suddenly. "Teach me how to really see the way you do." "Alex, I don't think that's a good idea. The human mind isn't designed for this. It could be dangerous. I don't care. I need to understand, please." Vera studied his face for a long moment, then nodded. "All right," but slowly. "We'll start with something simple." She took both of his hands in hers. "Close your eyes. Don't try to see anything. Just feel the moment you're in right now. This exact second. Feel its edges." Alex did as she instructed. At first, nothing happened. Then gradually he began to sense what she meant. The present moment wasn't a single point. It had thickness, depth. It was like standing on the edge of a coin, able to tip slightly forward into what was about to happen or slightly backward into what had just occurred. "Now," Vera's voice was soft, "try to feel just 1 second into the future. Don't think about it. Don't try to predict. Just extend your awareness forward like reaching out your hand in the dark." Alex concentrated and suddenly he felt it, a shadow of the next moment. He knew that a breeze would pick up in 3 seconds, that Vera would squeeze his hands gently, that a car would pass on the distant road, its headlights briefly illuminating the trees. And then those things happened, exactly as he'd sensed them. His eyes flew open. "I felt it. I really felt the future." Vera was smiling, but her eyes were sad. "You did. You're a natural, which makes this both amazing and terrible." "Why terrible?" "Because now I'm certain. You're not just adapting to be around me. There's something fundamental about you that resonates with temporal mechanics. It's like you were always meant to perceive time this way, but you needed someone like me to unlock it." She let go of his hands and looked up at the stars. "And that means when I leave, you'll be alone with this gift. You'll see the world in ways no other human can, and you'll have no one who understands. Then don't leave." The words hung in the air between them. It was the first time either of them had said it directly. "Alex, it's not that simple." "Why not? You said you're changing, becoming more synchronized with human time. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's what's supposed to happen. Or maybe I'm losing what makes me who I am. My people don't think the way yours do. We don't experience love or loss or attachment because we can see it all happening at once. Birth and death, beginning and end, all in the same eternal now. But lately I've been feeling things I've never felt before. Hope, fear, longing. These emotions are tied to linear time, to not knowing what comes next. If I stay here, I'll become more human and I'll lose my connection to my own people, my own existence. Would that really be so bad?" Vera turned to look at him and Alex saw tears in her eyes. He'd never seen her cry before. "I don't know. Part of me wants to stay so badly it hurts, but another part is terrified of being trapped in a single timeline, unable to ever go home." Alex moved closer, and without thinking about it, he cupped her face in his hands. "Let me show you what I've learned. Let me show you this moment, just this moment, without past or future, just us right now." He kissed her and the universe stopped, not slowed down, not paused, actually stopped. The stars froze in the sky. The breeze that had been blowing went completely still. The distant sound of traffic cut off mid-note. They existed in a bubble of perfect, absolute stillness. When they pulled apart, both of them were gasping. "What just happened?" Alex whispered. Vera was staring at him in shock. "You stopped time. Not just your perception of it. Actual time. Everything around us froze. I don't understand. How is that possible?" It's not. It's not possible." She touched her lips, her hands shaking. "Even my people can't actually stop time. We can move through it, navigate it, perceive it differently, but we can't freeze it. That would require consciousness existing completely outside the temporal dimension. It would require being in all moments and no moments simultaneously. But we just did it. No, you did it. When we kissed, when our consciousnesses connected, somehow you created a moment outside of time. A perfect instant that doesn't move forward or backward. It just exists. Time started flowing again. Slowly at first, like a frozen river beginning to thaw, then returning to its normal pace. The breeze picked up. The stars continued their slow rotation. The world resumed, but everything had changed. "We need to talk about this," Vera said, standing up quickly. She was pacing now. Her usual calm demeanor cracked. "This is unprecedented. If you can actually stop time, if you can create moments outside the flow, then you're not just perceiving temporal mechanics. You're manipulating them. You're doing things that should be impossible for any consciousness, human or otherwise. I didn't do it alone. It happened when we connected. But I can't do that. Even with my full abilities, I could never create a frozen moment. The universe doesn't work that way. Time is the one constant, the foundation everything else builds on. You can't just turn it off, but I did. We did." Vera stopped pacing and looked at him with an expression that was equal parts wonder and fear. "Do you understand what this means? If you can stop time even for a moment, even when connected with me, then you're something unique in the entire universe. You're an anomaly, a glitch in reality itself." That's a pretty dramatic way to put it. "Alex, this is dramatic. This is world-changing, universe-changing. If my people find out about your abilities, they'll want to study you, and not in a gentle way. They'll want to understand how a human consciousness can do what you just did. They might even see you as a threat. To what? To the natural order. To time itself. What if you could freeze not just moments, but years? Centuries? What if you could trap the entire universe in a single instant? You'd be more powerful than anything that exists." Alex felt cold despite the warm night. "I wouldn't do that. I can barely control what just happened. But you could learn. With training, with understanding, you might be able to do incredible things, or terrible things. And my people won't care about your intentions. They'll only care about the potential threat. So what do we do?" Vera sat back down beside him, her head in her hands. "I don't know. For the first time in my existence, I genuinely don't know what to do. I can't see the future clearly anymore. Being with you has made me too synchronized with human time. I'm living moment to moment now, just like you. And it's wonderful and terrifying." Alex put his arm around her shoulders. "Maybe that's okay. Maybe not knowing is part of being alive. Maybe." She leaned against him. "The signals from my people are getting stronger. They've almost located me. They'll be able to retrieve me soon, probably within days. And they'll take you away. Yes. Unless I refuse to go. Unless I choose to stay here, permanently synchronized with human time, becoming more human with every passing day, until I forget what it was like to exist outside the timeline." "Is that what you want?" Vera looked up at him, and in her eyes Alex saw centuries of loneliness meeting something new and fragile and precious. "I want to stay in this moment, this exact moment where you're holding me and everything is possible. I want to live in the spacey." The next morning, Alex woke up to find his apartment filled with frozen moments. Not literally, but in his perception. He could see the path of dust motes through the air, each particle's trajectory mapped out seconds in advance. He knew his phone would ring in exactly 8 seconds before it did. When he made breakfast, he could feel the exact instant the toast would pop up, the precise temperature the coffee would reach. The world had become predictable, and it was starting to scare him. He met Vera at the clearing that afternoon, and she knew immediately that something had changed. "It's getting worse, isn't it?" she asked. "The temporal perception. Worse? I don't know if that's the right word. It's getting stronger. I can see further ahead now. Not just seconds, but minutes sometimes. And it's not just the future. I can remember the past with perfect clarity. Every conversation I've ever had, every moment I've lived. It's all right there, like I'm living in all my moments at once. Vera looked worried. That's how my people experience existence. All of time is a single, eternal present. Alex, you're becoming less human. Maybe that's what it takes to be with you. No. She grabbed his shoulders, forcing him to look at her. No, don't say that. I don't want you to lose yourself because of me. Your humanity, your ability to live in the moment without seeing all the endings, that's what makes you beautiful. That's what drew me to you in the first place. But I can't go back. Whatever I've become, whatever you've helped me become, I can't undo it. Even if you leave, I'll still be able to see time this way. I know. And that's why this is all my fault. Before Alex could respond, the air around them shimmered. It was similar to what he'd seen when he first found Vera, but stronger. The electromagnetic signature was so powerful that his teeth ached. 3 figures materialized in the clearing, appearing gradually like images coming into focus. They looked humanoid at first glance, but there was something off about them. Their movements were too smooth, too fluid, like they were slightly out of sync with the rest of reality. When they walked, they seemed to leave after images, brief trails of where they had been and where they would be. Vera, one of them, spoke, and their voice had that same quality as Vera's, like words translated from thoughts. We've located you at last. Your prolonged absence has been concerning. Vera stood up, and Alex noticed how different she looked from the newcomers. She moved normally now, like a regular person. The otherworldly quality she'd had when he first met her was almost completely gone. I know why you're here, Vera said. My temporal anchor malfunctioned. I've been trapped in this timeline. The speaker, who appeared to be the leader, tilted their head in a gesture that seemed almost mocking. Trapped? Our readings suggest otherwise. Your anchor has been functioning properly for the past 8 days. You've chosen to remain synchronized with this timeline. You've chosen to stay. Alex saw Vera's expression change. Guilt, fear, and something else. Defiance. That's not entirely true, she started. Don't lie to us, Vera. We can see the timeline. We know what's happened. You've formed an attachment to this human. You've allowed yourself to become synchronized with linear time. You've been avoiding repair deliberately. The leader's gaze shifted to Alex, and he felt like he was being examined under a microscope. And you're the anchor point, the human who can perceive temporal mechanics. Fascinating. We've been observing your development with great interest. You've been watching us? Alex said, anger rising in his voice. We observe all things. That's what we do. And what we've observed in you is unprecedented. A human consciousness developing the ability to manipulate time itself. When you stopped time yesterday, you created a ripple that echoed across multiple timelines. You've attracted attention from beings you cannot begin to comprehend. I don't care about your attention. I care about Vera. Of course you do. Attachment. How typically human. The leader turned back to Vera. You have a choice to make. Return with us now, and we can fully restore your temporal abilities. You'll be able to navigate time again, to exist as you were meant to, or stay here, continue to synchronize with human time, and eventually lose everything that makes you one of us. That's not a choice, Vera said. That's a threat. It's reality. You know the rules. Prolonged synchronization leads to permanent integration. Stay much longer, and you won't be able to return even if you want to. You'll be human, or as close to human as makes no difference. Mortal, limited, trapped in the forward march of seconds and minutes and years until you age and die. Maybe that's not the worst thing, Vera said quietly. The clearing went silent. The other 2 figures exchanged what looked like glances, though it was hard to tell with beings that seemed to exist in multiple moments simultaneously. You would give up immortality? The leader asked. An existence where you can perceive all of time, navigate it freely, exist in every moment you choose? You would trade that for 70 or 80 years of linear existence culminating in death? If it means really living? Really feeling? Yes, I think I would. For him? The leader gestured dismissively at Alex. For a single human who you've known for mere days? Vera, can't you see the timeline? This attachment will end. All human attachments end. In death and disappointment, in the slow erosion of time. You'll watch him age while you remain unchanged, or you'll age with him and feel your abilities fade. Either way leads to loss. That's what makes it meaningful, Alex said, stepping forward. You're so busy looking at the entire timeline that you miss the point. Life isn't about knowing how it ends. It's about the moments in between. The uncertainty, the surprise, the choosing to be with someone even though you know it won't last forever. That's what makes it matter. The leader regarded him with something that might have been respect. Philosophical for a human. But philosophy doesn't change the physics of existence. Vera must choose. Vera was silent, looking between Alex and her people. He could see the war happening inside her. Centuries of existence versus weeks of real feeling. Immortality versus mortality. Knowledge versus mystery. Before I choose, she said slowly, I need to know something. The temporal anchor. You said it's been working for days. That means it didn't actually malfunction, did it? The leader paused. The anchor functioned as designed, which means it brought me here on purpose. Synchronized me with this timeline. Why, what are you not telling me? Another pause, longer this time. There is a prophecy among our kind. Ancient, almost forgotten. It speaks of a convergence. A moment when one of our people would meet a human with latent temporal abilities. When they connect, when their consciousnesses merge, something new would be created. A consciousness that exists both within and outside of time. A bridge between our existence and theirs. Alex felt his blood run cold. Are you saying this was planned? That you sent her here to find me? Not planned. Anticipated. The prophecy suggested where and when such a meeting might occur. We sent Vera to observe that location. The anchor synchronized her with the timeline when it detected a compatible consciousness nearby. Yours. You used me, Vera said, her voice shaking. You sent me here knowing I might become trapped, knowing I might form attachments. We gave you an opportunity. What you chose to do with it was your decision. No, you manipulated me. You knew I was lonely. You knew I wanted to feel something real, and you used that to create your bridge, your convergence, or whatever you want to call it. The leader's expression remained neutral. The universe requires balance. Humans are trapped in linear time. We exist outside of it. A consciousness that can navigate between both states could be valuable. Revolutionary, even. Valuable to who? Alex demanded. What do you want from us? Nothing you aren't already becoming. The convergence is happening naturally. You're developing temporal abilities while Vera becomes more synchronized with linear time. Eventually, you'll meet in the middle. Two consciousnesses that can exist in both states. That's the bridge the prophecy spoke of. And what happens then? That depends on you. Such a consciousness would have unprecedented abilities. You could navigate time like we do, but still experience the emotional depth and creativity of humanity. You could be explorers of temporal space in ways neither humans nor my people can achieve alone. Vera stepped between Alex and the leader. Or you could study us. Experiment on us. Use whatever we become for your own purposes. We prefer cooperation to coercion. But you're willing to do both. The leader didn't deny it. Vera, you have until tomorrow night to decide. Return with us and we'll restore your full abilities. You'll leave this timeline, leave this human, and resume your existence. Or stay, complete the synchronization, and accept whatever consequences follow. Those are your options. The three figures began to fade, their forms becoming translucent. Wait, Alex called out. If I can stop time, if I'm developing these abilities, can't I fight you? Can't I prevent you from taking her? The leader's voice echoed as they disappeared. You could try, but you don't yet understand what you're capable of. And using power without understanding leads to catastrophe. We've seen it happen across countless timelines. We'll return tomorrow. Make your choice wisely. And then they were gone, leaving Alex and Vera alone in the clearing. Vera collapsed to the ground, and Alex sat beside her, pulling her close. She was shaking, whether from anger. Alex didn't sleep that night. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling the weight of possible futures pressing down on him. With his enhanced temporal perception, he could see fragments of what might come, timelines where Vera left, and he spent the rest of his life alone with abilities no one else could understand. Timelines where she stayed and slowly became more human, forgetting the extraordinary being she had been. Timelines where they tried to fight the temporal beings and failed catastrophically. None of them felt right. As dawn broke, Alex made a decision. He got dressed and went to the university physics lab. If he was going to help Vera, he needed to understand exactly what was happening to both of them. He pulled up his research notes, added in everything Vera had told him about temporal mechanics, and started running calculations. Hours passed. The equations started to come together. forming patterns that shouldn't exist in normal physics. He was describing a consciousness that could exist in superposition, in multiple temporal states simultaneously, not trapped in linear time but not completely outside of it either. A middle ground. His phone rang. It was his advisor. "Alex, where are you? You missed our meeting." "I'm in the lab. I'm working on something important." "More important than your dissertation? You're supposed to be studying stellar formation, not whatever this temporal nonsense is on the whiteboard." Alex looked at the equations filling the board. To anyone else, they would look like the ravings of someone who'd lost touch with reality. "I know how this looks, but I'm onto something real here. Take a break. Get some rest. You've been acting strange lately." After his advisor hung up, Alex realized what was happening. His two worlds were colliding. His normal life and this impossible reality with Vera couldn't coexist forever. Eventually, he'd have to choose too. He found Vera in the clearing that afternoon. She was sitting in the same spot where he'd first seen her, looking small and lost. "They'll be here soon," she said without looking at him. "I can feel them approaching through the timeline. I have to give them an answer." Alex sat down beside her. "I've been thinking about what they said. About the convergence, about us meeting in the middle. It doesn't matter. They manipulated everything. Maybe they created the opportunity, but they didn't create this." He took her hand. "Vera, do you remember when we stopped time? When we kissed and everything froze?" "Of course. I'll never forget it. I've been trying to understand how it happened, and I think I figured it out. It wasn't just me, and it wasn't just you. It was us together. Your consciousness existing outside of time met my consciousness that's learning to perceive time differently. When we connected, we created something new, a moment that existed nowhere and everywhere simultaneously. The bridge they talked about. Yes, but not the way they think. They see it as a tool, something to use, but what if it's actually something else? What if it's a choice?" Vera looked at him confused. "I don't understand. You're afraid that staying here means losing what you are. And I'm afraid that developing these abilities means losing what I am. But what if we're both wrong? What if the convergence isn't about one of us becoming more like the other? What if it's about both of us becoming something new together? That's not how it works. You can't just choose to exist in multiple temporal states. Why not? I stopped time. I did something that shouldn't be possible. And I didn't do it through technology or training. I did it through connection. Through love." Vera's eyes widened. "You love me?" "Of course I do. How could I not? You've shown me that reality is bigger and stranger and more beautiful than I ever imagined. You've made me see that time isn't a prison, it's a gift. Every moment with you has been a choice to be present, to be real, to feel something that matters." Tears were streaming down Vera's face now. "I love you too. That's why this is so hard. I've never loved anything before. I've never cared about a single moment more than any other moment. But now, right now, this moment is everything to me, and I'm terrified of losing it. Then don't lose it. Keep it forever. That's impossible. No, it's not. When we stopped time before, we created a moment that exists outside the normal flow. What if we could do that again? What if we could create a moment, our moment, and preserve it somehow? A place we could always return to no matter what else happens? Alex, that would require an enormous amount of energy. You'd have to freeze not just local time, but create an actual pocket dimension outside the normal timeline. Even my people can't do that, but what if we could? Together, your experience with navigating time and my ability to stop it. What if we combined them? Before Vera could answer, the air shimmered. The three temporal beings appeared again, right on schedule. "Time's up," the leader said. "What is your decision, Vera?" Vera stood up and Alex stood with her. "I need to ask you something first," she said. "The prophecy you mentioned. What exactly does it say happens with the convergence?" "It speaks of a bridge consciousness that can navigate between linear and nonlinear time. It speaks of unprecedented abilities. But what does it say about the individuals? About their fate?" The leader hesitated. "The prophecy is unclear on that point. Because they don't survive, do they? The convergence consumes them. It creates something new by destroying what they were." The silence that followed confirmed Vera's suspicion. "You were going to let us complete the convergence without telling us it would kill us?" Alex said, his anger rising. "Not kill, transform. Your individual consciousnesses would merge into something greater. Against our will. The prophecy suggests it happens naturally. The attraction between compatible consciousnesses, the development of temporal abilities, the synchronization, it all leads inevitably to merger." Vera laughed bitterly. So we never had a choice. Stay or go, we were always heading toward the same end. The convergence was always going to consume us. Unless you return with us now, the leader said. We can separate you before the process completes. Vera would resume her existence with us, and the human would eventually lose his temporal perception. Both would survive. Alex felt something click into place in his mind. He understood now. The temporal beings weren't trying to help or hurt them. They were just following a pattern they'd seen before, trying to control something they didn't fully understand. No, he said firmly. No, the leader sounded surprised. You're wrong about the convergence. You think it's inevitable, that it will consume us and create something new, but you're missing the most important part. The reason Vera and I connected isn't because of some prophecy or cosmic programming. It's because we chose each other, and that choice, that act of free will, changes everything. He turned to Vera. Remember what you told me about your people? That you don't form attachments because you can see every relationship's end? Yes, but you can't see our end. Not anymore. You've become too synchronized with linear time. You're experiencing uncertainty just like I am, and that uncertainty is what makes the choice real. Alex looked back at the temporal beings. You want to study the convergence, but you're approaching it wrong. You think it's about combining abilities or creating a bridge between existent states, but it's actually about love. About choosing someone even when you can't see the future. Even when you know it might hurt. Even when it's difficult, he took Vera's hands. I choose you, not because of prophecy or temporal mechanics or convergence. I choose you because in a universe of infinite possibilities, you're the one I want to experience time with. However we experience it. Vera was crying openly now. I choose you too. I choose this moment, this feeling, this uncertainty. I choose to not know what happens next because that's what makes it real. How touching, the leader said, though their tone suggested they didn't quite understand. But sentiment doesn't change physics. The convergence will still. That's when it happened. Alex and Vera kissed, and time didn't just stop. It shattered. The world fractured into infinite moments, each one existing simultaneously. Past, present, and future all collapsed into a single eternal instant. Alex could see everything. His childhood, his future, Vera's long existence outside of time, the birth of stars, the heat death of the universe, the first moment of creation. It all existed at once, overlapping and intersecting, and in the center of it all was the moment of their kiss, that single choice, that act of love. The temporal beings were frozen, unable to move in this new state. They existed in time, navigated through it, but they couldn't exist outside of all time. Couldn't perceive the totality of existence as a single unified whole. But Alex and Vera could. What's happening? Vera whispered, though the words existed across all moments simultaneously. I think we're creating it, Alex said. The pocket dimension you mentioned. Not by destroying ourselves and merging, but by choosing to exist together in a way that transcends both linear and non-linear time. They were still themselves. Still separate consciousnesses, but connected in a way that went deeper than the convergence the prophecy had described. They had created a shared space, a moment that existed everywhere and nowhere, accessible to them both regardless of when or how they existed. This is our moment, Alex said, our frozen instant. Whenever we need it, whatever happens, we can always return here. Together. Slowly, carefully, they let time resume. The universe reassembled itself. The infinite mom